Good morning. Today is Monday, the 15th of August. I'm Steve O'Hare from Signal Center Acuity, and we're bringing you a market alert on Brent crude oil. Now, what we're going to run through is we're going to look at the market news sentiment. We're also looking at the technical sentiment as well on the Brent crude oil. We'll start with the our normal place where we go, and that is, let me just make it a little bit bigger so you can see a bit more of it. And this is looking at the actual technical analysis behind Brent crude oil. Normally I do WTI, but Brent crude oil, normally they map each other quite well, although there's it's trading at almost a $6 premium to WTI crude oil at the moment. So here's the weekly chart. Let's start off with that. We've got the impulsive move higher that we've seen since April 2020, and we topped out around about the $130 mark in Brent. We saw the sell-off. We've seen this ABC correction, which is a normal correction you see at the end of an impulsive move higher, and we're trading around some really interesting levels, which have potential to break down, or this could form what could be a longer term base. But looking at it at the moment, over the last couple of months, I've felt that Brent has been under pressure to the downside and hasn't quite managed to break these support levels. So we've got a big blue trend line coming in here. We can see over the last few weeks that this trend line, this upward trending support line, has been tested. And we are off to a little bit of a shaky start this morning after Friday's or last week's really positive price action. Let's take a look at the daily chart, and this will give us a few more levels to look at a little bit closer. So we've got the 21-day moving average. The 21-day moving average signifies around about a month's worth of trading, taking out all the weekends, and we can see that this actually offers a really good guide for the trend within the Brent crude oil market. Also, one of my favorite indicators is the Ichimoku cloud, and I'll show you that on a daily chart. Let's get rid of this trend line here, just so that we can take away a few trend lines and focus a little bit more on the actual price action now. But the Ichimoku cloud looks a little bit complicated, but we can see that we are below the cloud here, the green cloud here, the red cloud here. Green is normally a supportive cloud, but once price breaks through it, it then becomes resistant, and the red cloud is obviously more resistant as well. So we've seen the breakdown below it, so we're in a daily downward trend as far as that's concerned, and we can see the sort of like the average ranges as well are sort of breaking down a little bit and moving lower. So overall, we can see the price action really from a daily perspective. Last week we saw a number of positive days, and then we ended Friday with a negative day, and we've seen follow through price action move to the downside as well today. So we'll take a little bit more of a deep dive into that on the shorter term charts. The 4-hour chart, again, similar sort of price action that we're seeing in regards to the cloud. Breaking down, holding at the top of the cloud. This was there's the resistance level. You've got the bottom and the top of the cloud. Top of the cloud held. Prices pushed their way through, but never managed to hold above it. And we saw this really, really strong bearish outside candle here on the 9 o'clock to the 1 o'clock time frame on Friday, which led to a reversal in a lot of the positivity that we saw during that week. And this is continuing into the start of this week. We took a look at this on our Talking Bull show this morning, and we highlighted the potential for a head and shoulders formation. It's got a double head. It's not a very clean one, but we highlighted this neckline point where we saw support, and we were breaking through it on between that 9 o'clock and the 8 o'clock and the 9 o'clock candle, and that was a very strong move to the downside, initiating what we considered a short-term sell signal. So that's playing out at the moment, so that's definitely something to watch moving forward. But overall, really moving back to that daily chart, we're in this downward trend, downward channel, and we are trading around about this significant pivotal level. So we call it around about the $95.50 mark. This was a low back in the 16th of March when we formed this reversal signal. We had the sell-off and we formed a morning doji star formation, which was formed by an inverted hammer in the middle, and price action pushed back higher. So definitely a level of interest for both buyers and sellers. Sellers at the moment have a little bit of momentum with them. So overall, slightly bearish on the Brent crude for the coming week. Now, if we take a look at the new sentiment analysis around crude oil, what we tend to find that this almost acts as an inverted signal. So what I mean by that is when you get positive news sentiment in oil, that tends to lead to price moving lower. You get good supply, and you get positive news coming out. If you get the opposite, if you get negative news like supply shortage or any sort of turmoil in the Middle East, then news sentiment is negative, but that would normally lead to prices moving higher. So we see normally an inverse relationship. So looking at this, we've seen more recently, the most recent market news alert we had was an 80% confidence. Daily news sentiment is moving higher, and 80% of the last 10 occurrences where this news sentiment has moved in the way it has, price has risen within 2 days. And again, let's remember it has a negative relationship, so that potentially means prices are under pressure because the news sentiment towards oil is improving. So that's what we're looking at on the news sentiment side of things. And yeah, so going back to the main overall outlook for this week, as far as we're concerned from a technical perspective, looking slightly negative, slightly bearish, and again from the news sentiment, that news sentiment is improving, which could lead to lower price action this week. Hope that's been informative. Thanks for joining me, and see you again soon.